What's up, guys? It's your boy Dig Dash and I'm back with another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to replace the joysticks in your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. As you know, it's quite a common problem with these Joy-Cons. The analog sticks tend to drift after a certain period of time. It's mainly just due to, should I say, poor design, but a lot of dirt and detritus gets inside the Joy-Cons, which causes them to not read the position of the joysticks accurately. As you can see, this is drifting quite a bit. This is my son's Switch, by the way, and he's had this issue for a while. And of course, yes, you can send it back to Nintendo, send the Joy-Cons that are affected back to Nintendo, which could take a while, take a couple of weeks. And as these are his only Joy-Cons, he'll be without his Switch for a couple of weeks. And the solution is quite easy to remedy, quite easy to fix. So basically, this is what you do. Excuse me. Right, so off eBay, I ordered this particular toolkit, which contains two drivers. One is a wingtip driver for Nintendo. Nintendo have a proprietary style tip, and the other side is a small Phillips head type screwdriver. And essentially these are the only tools that we need to open up the Joy-Cons, to get inside, and obviously to replace the analog sticks. And from eBay yet again, I ordered two analog sticks. As you can see, here's the camera will focus. Here's what it looks like, and here's the second one. I think literally these cost me a total of maybe £6 or £7. In total, I spent about £10 on this repair. So here we are. These are the tools that we need. This is all that we need to get inside. Oh, sorry, and also you need to keep a pair of tweezers handy, because the screws are incredibly small and some of the parts that we need to manipulate are quite tiny. So it will be very handy to keep one around. Right, so right now we're using the Nintendo style wingtip screwdriver, and you do need to apply quite a bit of pressure. I think mainly because these screwdrivers are quite cheap. If you're using like a better quality screwdriver head, it'd be slightly easier to remove these screws. But I had to use quite a bit of pressure to twist, and unfortunately if you use too much pressure you can round off these screw heads, which will make it incredibly hard to get into in the future. So I suggest that you kind of moderate and, you know, assess what kind of pressure you need to apply, but just use the least amount of pressure as you possibly can. But in this case, I had to use quite a bit of pressure to initially get the screw moving, and obviously to undo the screws. So I've just sped this up. So I'm just going to go through the whole entire process so you can see what I've taken apart. I'm taking apart both the Joy-Cons, by the way. I'm replacing both, but at the end product I'm just going to show you the result of one, opening one up, because essentially they're both the same, but I'm doing two at the same time, so that's why there's so many screws there. Right, so that's the final screw of the outer shell. So now we're going to open up the Joy-Con. Essentially kind of opens up like a clamshell. It has a little hinge at the back where the rail is, which you use to attach to the Switch. As I have no nails, literally, like I have very short fingernails, it's very hard to get into. If you have longer fingernails, it'd be a lot easier, but I struggled a little bit because of my stubs. Stumpy fingers. But there you go, it's open. As you can see an antennae, which it uses to connect to the Switch. There's the battery, there's the rail which it kind of hooks onto when you close it and when you open it. And yeah, there we're in. So let's go. So now the next step is to remove the battery. We're not going to completely remove it, we're just going to remove it from the shell. we're still going to leave it physically connected via the cable, as we really don't need to remove it, and it is easier this way, as there's less things to reattach once you're reassembling the unit. So I'm just having a quick check just to make sure that everything's lined up correctly. As you can see, like, yet again, my fingernails are quite short, so it makes it very difficult for me to get up and under it to release it, but I did it, of course. And we just need to, next step we need to do is remove the antennae from the plastic housing. There you go, detached. Well, it's still attached, or you just move it to the side, because obviously we need to remove this plastic container so that we can get behind it and access the analog stick. So there's there's 3 screws that we need to remove. Very simple, don't use too much pressure, you don't want to round off the bolts, round off the heads of the screws. And basically when we're kind of disassembling this, we want to kind of keep as much attached as possible. Need to remove this plastic. Hold up, wait a minute. I completely neglected the final screw, which is holding it in. So that needs to be removed. Don't forget that. Make sure we use the correct screwdriver, of course. So we're just going to remove this part, and that will allow us access to the analog stick, which is behind the plastic. So there we go. Be careful, try not to lose these screws. I mean, I'm sure they'll be very easy to lose due to their size. So let's not do that. So we just file that to the side, move it out of the way so it allows us access to the Joycon, to the wireless Joycon, the analog stick. So here we go. There it is. There's the culprit. So we just unscrewed that. We're just going to need to pop that out. So it has these little plastic tabs, which you just need to lift up, which allows us to detach the analog stick. That's been detached. We can replace it with the new analog stick that we got from eBay. So essentially we're just doing the reverse of the process. So we just slot it in. We try to slide it into the connector. It's a little bit fiddly, it will take a while to do, but it's not a particularly difficult thing to do. But it does take a little bit of trial and error, but it does slide in. This is where you may need your tweezers to kind of help slot that in. As long as you don't apply too much force, it doesn't require too much force, you just literally just push it in and then you slide the tab down. So in this case I'll try to use a pair of tweezers just to kind of make sure that I'm not applying too much pressure to damage the connector. You just slide it in, and I think that's got it. And then we'll just push in the rest of the analog stick. Once we're happy with it, we'll screw it down. As you can see, it's all quite fiddly stuff. but it's not a particularly difficult fix. I think anyone can do this. Just need to like make sure that you allow yourself enough time to do this slowly, and you shouldn't have any problems. Just do everything slowly. Don't rush anything. Don't lose any screws. Try not to use too much force when you're removing parts or unscrewing things, and it'll be fine. It's not a particularly difficult fix or switch out, should I say. And it really does help when you have magnetic tips to your screwdrivers, given the size of these screws, as you can see. Very, very fiddly, but not impossible. And this has pretty much been done without detaching many things, aside from obviously the Joycon joystick, the wireless, you call it the wireless, the analog stick. So we're just going to reattach this trigger which popped out, which is no biggie. It hasn't got any springs on it. It's just got a little rubber grommet at the bottom of it, which he uses to make the connection. So it's just a case of just sliding it in and then placing the other plastic part on top, which clamps it in. It's a little bit fiddly, but not impossible, as you can see. Right, so we pretty much reached the point where we can just screw everything back together and then test it. Right, so I'm just having a look because it kind of hinges back together, uses the bottom part of the railing, so you have to kind of like slip it on and then almost kind of close it like a door. So there you go, not particularly hard, and just clamps back together. Make sure you haven't lost any parts, anything's rattling around. And now it's just a case of just simply just screwing everything back together again, using the screws that you used to remove the shell in the first place. here we are. So we're almost done. Everything feels solid, everything's right. It turns on, which is always a wonderful thing. Nothing's rattling around, it's good to go. So all we need to do now is just test it. So as you remember before, the left stick was fine, but I replaced that anyway because it's had issues in the past. And the right stick is working perfectly. Sometimes you may need to calibrate them, but we replace this and it works straight out the box, so that's fine. If it needs recalibrating, recalibrate it. But you shouldn't have any drift. Might be slightly off center, but you can fix that for calibration. As you can see, it works perfectly. My son is very happy with this. Didn't need to send it back to Nintendo. Cost less than £10 to sort out. Anyway, peace and love, guys. Peace.